अस्त्युत्तरस्यां दिशि देवतात्मा हिमालयो नाम नगाधिराजः पूर्वापरौ तोयनिधीव गाह्य स्थितः पृथिव्या इव मानदण्डः. We are in the third Sarga, and I think we finished with the 60th Shloka. Yes. Okay. Tasmai shashamsa pranipatya nandi shushrushaya shailasutam upetam praveshayamasa cha bharturenam bhrukshepamatra pravesham. Parvati is entering the Sthanuvanam, and she is going to meet the hero and heroine are going to meet here now. So that's the setting here. Tasmai Nandi Pranipatya Shushrushaya Shailasutam Upetam Shashamsa. So Nandi told Shiva that Parvati has arrived here. Shailasuta, the daughter of Himavan, has arrived here to do Shushrusha to Shiva. And Praveshayamasa, he also let her in. Once he got the Anumati from Shiva. Shiva Brukshepamatra Anumata Pravesha. He just lifted his eyebrow or to show that she can be allowed inside. And Nandi made her enter into the place where Shiva was doing tapas. The next one is Tasyas Sakhibhyam Pranipatya Purvam Swahastalunaha Shishiratyayasya Vyakiryata Triambaka Padamule Pushpochayaha Pallava Bhanga Binnaha. Tasyaha Purvam Sakhibhyam Triambaka Padamule Pushpochayaha Vyakiryata. So Tasyaha Purvam, before she could do a namaskaram to Shiva, her Sakhi, two of her friends, Vijaya and Malini, are two of her friends. They both Sakhibhyam Pranipatya. This is in Karmani Prayoga. So Sakhibhyam Pushpochayaha Vyakiryata. A shower of flowers were spread at the foot of Shiva by the two Sakhi, by the two friends of Parvati. So Sakhibhyam Pranipatya, after doing a namaskaram, Swahastalunaha Pushpochayaha. Pushpochayaha, a bunch of flowers. Uchchayaha is more like a samoham. So as a group of flowers which were plucked by their own hands. Swahastalunaha. So they have not asked somebody else to do it, or it was not fallen on the ground and they had taken it from the ground. So it is shuddham. To show the pavitratvam that is there in the flowers, he says they had plucked the flowers by their own hands. So swahastalunaha pushpochayaha shishira atyayasya pushpochayaha. The flowers were all bloomed after the winter had passed. Shishira atyayasya. So after because akale vasantaha agataha, tasmat vasantakala kalinani pushpani tatra asan. So tesham pushpana uchchayaha. The group of flowers which had bloomed after the winter, that flower bunch was vikiryata, was spread. Where was it? Triambaka padamule, at the feet of Shiva. And that flowers were also had some leaves in it, because while plucking you cannot pluck only the flower. So it comes with the leaves also. So Pallava Bhanga Bhinnaha. Bhinnaha, it was mixed, Mishritaha, with a little bit of leaves also. Okay. Yeah.
Punaha Pallava Bhanga Bhinnaha Nama Punaha. Like Bhanga means broken, right? Broken Pallavas or Punaha?
You can say Bhanga here as Shakalam, so the leaves have not come out completely also. There could be the leaves, probably when they were trying to pluck the flowers, the leaves were broken into half and they came. So Pallavanam Bhangaha, Shakalaha, pieces. Amshaha, probably, Taihi Bhinnaha Pushpochayaha, Bhinnaha Mishritaha.
Like bits of leaves.
Bits of leaves, yes.
पुनः स्वहस्तलूनः नाम स्व इत्यत्र तस्याः इति उक्तत्वात्
न
पार्वत्याः
न सखीनां हस्तैः एव. So swahasta is always refers to whoever is doing it, right? So atma hastena, atma hastabhyam, whatever.
शिशिरात्ययस्य नाम शिशिर नाम विंटर इति स्वीक्रियते चेत् स्प्रिंग एव किल इदानीं.
Yes. So shishira atyayah jatah atikramaha. So vasanta sambandhi iti.
नाम तादृश राउंड अबाउट प्रयोगः.
Yes, it is a there is an alankara for that, no? Paryayoktam.
There should be some intent behind it, right?
The intent is because it is an akala vasantam. Shishira. Otherwise it would have been shishira. So that's the point there. Vasanta kalasya pushpochayah. I'm sure Kālidāsa can find some way to fit Vasanta kala there. He need not have brought in shishira atyaya there. Suddenly there has been a Vasanta Kalam and Shishira has gone. Hence, this flower must be, I don't know, it must have been much more good looking than what. No? Probably. Therefore, this Tasyaha Purvam, the Vyakhyata gives a very beautiful response, meaning for it. Nayaka Darshananantaram Sanjata Satvika Vikarayaha Devyaha Lajja apanodanartham adau tat sakibhyameva parameshwara seva krita. The Nayaka darshananantram, after seeing the Nayaka, Uma does not, she feels a little shy there. So sanjataka satvika vikara. Satvika is usually involuntary feelings are called satvika bhava. They are hri, lajja, you can have sweda, kampa. These are all things that happen in the body without our forcing it on ourselves. So there are actions that we can force. There are actions that happen involuntary without our control. So though that sanjata satvika vikarayaha devyaha, Devi who had a lot of changes in her body which were involuntary upon seeing Shiva there. So lajja apanodartham, she probably felt shy and she could not approach Shiva at that point. So the Sakhi, both her friends, did Parameshwara Seva first. So that Sakibhyameva Adau in the beginning, that Sakibhyameva Parameshwara Seva Krita. So to ease the situation, to break the ice of sort. So they both first went there and then she could follow. It's natural, if you think of such situations, you can actually imagine these things happening, right? Kālidasa's observation power is what is beautiful here. So tasyaha purvam sakhibhyam shishiratyayasya pushpochayah trembaka padamule pranipatya vyakiryata. I think in Mallinatha's reading he says pranipata purvam. Then you can take it as, instead of pranipatya, he says pranipata purvam vyakiryata. Take that as kriya vishesham. Okay. So tasyaha devyaha purvam anya arad itara rite dik shabda ityadina panchami. So there is a sutram which gives panchami for Devi. So tasyaha purvam. Here I think the dik shabda here refers to both dik and kalam. You can say devyaha purvam as in dik, in front of her. So there also you use panchami. If you say before her, kala vachi chet tadapi, you can use panchami there. So devyaha purvam is also panchami here. Devi pranamat prak ityarthaha. Before Parvati could do her namaskaram, the Sakhi did their seva. So Sakhibhyam, Vijaya Malinibhyam, Vijaya and Malini are her two friends. Shishira Atyayasya Vasantasya Pushpochayaha Pushpanam Uchchayaha Samuhaha Vasanta Kumarasambhava ityarthaha. So it's a heap of flowers that bloom during spring season. Trembaka padamule, Trembakasya harasya padamule, nikate, at his feet, pranipatya namaskritya, vyakiryata, vikshiptaha abhut. So the flowers were spread at his feet. Pushpochayasya Saushtavadyotakam Visheshanam. Saushtavam here is Sushtu. That is, it was clean. So to show that the flowers were all very clean, Swahastalunam. There is this doubt, if the tree is tall, we shake and make the flowers fall. That is fine. We do take those for puja. But here it is in Himavad Parvatam, and Parvati is the person who is presenting the flowers. So she plucks it using her hand. We have to take it like that. That's all. There can be degrees of cleanliness, right? So probably that is another one. Atmanaha hastabhyameva lunaha avachitaha parameshwara bhaktya swayameva. Here, a lot of lines are missing actually in the print. 1 minute. I'll share the other book. The older version has all those. Whereas this one, the Shiksha Purva Pallava Bhangaha is wrong here. 1 minute. Atmanaha hastabhyameva lunaha avachitaha parameshwara bhaktya swayameva shiksha purvakam ahritaha. This is an example of scribal error, or when you see, they have actually shiksha purva and then they have missed this entire line and they have taken out this line here. If you see, that's what happened there.
You think they actually typed it by looking at it?
In some way, or how would they have done the print?
Probably because they must have done some OCR or something, and then they must have done some manual editing on it.
If it is OCR, then you can't miss a line.
Can't miss a line, right? That's what I was thinking. How did this happen, Dina?
Yeah. Anyway. So, Shiksha Purvakam Ahritaha. Swayameva Shiksha Purvakam Ahritaha. Shiksha Purvakam. Padipikkarthukkagan irukumo, in order to teach, or Parameshwara Bhaktya Swayameva. Shiksha is more like discipline. So with the discipline, they took the flowers on their own. There are a couple of Nayanmar stories. Nayanmars are devotees of Shiva. Just like how Alvars are devotees of Vishnu, you have 64 Nayanmars who are Shiva's devotee. There was one particular devotee of Shiva who used to pluck even spinach, kira. He would pluck them by saying Shiva's name with every time he plucked it. So there is a story of how Shiva comes to that Nayanmar's house and he says, give me food. It is so he goes to the garden and plucks those things, and Shiva also goes there and plucks. But then the lady of the house, she only does Nevedyam for the ones that the other person did, but not the devotee. Because as he is plucking, he says the name of Shiva and he plucks. So it is already Nivedanam tu abhavat tatraiva during the time of plucking itself. So there is a discipline with which you do it because there is a devotion associated with it, with even those actions. Then you don't need to do a separate Nivedanam there. This one story, I don't remember the name of that Nayanmar.
So Shiksha Purvakam means after Shiksha.
Something like a disciplined way of doing things, right?
So I was thinking Shiksha Nama, like, there should be, is there a method of actually plucking a ritual, like, like இப்படிதான் பண்ணோம் அப்படின்னா, like
அப்படி இருக்காதுன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். எனக்கு என்னமோ அது ஒரு கட்டுப்பாடோட பண்றதுங்கிற மாதிரி தான் இருக்கணும். Shiksha also means there are rules, right?
Rules, yeah.
So probably with some sort of a rule in mind, not doing anyway. ஏதோ கண்ணா பின்னான்னு பண்றதை விட paying focus and attention and everything. அப்படி இருக்கும்.
Like choosing the best flowers, picking them in a certain way, or with a certain bhakti in mind, or
Not randomly plucking the flowers.
randomly plucking, yeah. Like
You are
selecting
plucking a
carefully.
flower in such a manner that it doesn't break
It doesn't
also.
break, yeah.
இல்ல?
You choose the best flowers. You don't choose ones which are too old or too
Or too bud like
yeah.
அதெல்லாம் இல்லாத. There can be so many things to it.
Thought has gone into it. Thought and care has gone into it.
இதெல்லாம் வந்து this is a way of thinking that work is devotion. Every work that you do demands a certain amount of discipline and focus. Then that itself becomes a sort of a meditation. Darshaniyatvam. So it's more beautiful. Not only flowers are there, it is also variegated with the leaves. Bhagnaha pallavaha pallava bangaha pallava bhangaihi bhinnaha mishraha. Okay. Swayameva ahritaihi pallavaihi upetaha. So it has both flowers and leaves. So tasyas sakhibhyam pranipatya purvam swahastalunah shishiratyayasya vyakiryata triambakapadamule pushpochayaha pallava bhanga binnaha. So both the Sakhis have now done the seva for Parameshwara, and they have showered flowers at his foot. Now it is Uma's turn, Parvati's turn. Uma api Neelalaka madhya shobhi visramsayanti navakarnikaram chakara karnachuta pallavena murdhna pranamam vrishabhadvajaya. Vrishabhadvajaya murdhna pranamam chakara. Uma api, Uma to Parvati, murdhna with her head, pranamam chakara, she did a namaskaram for Shiva. But she didn't offer any flowers, but automatically flower fell from her head here. Karnachuta pallavena. The same way as just as how the Sakhi, both her friends, had offered flowers and leaves, the same way here also she offers a flower and a leaf, but it falls automatically from her head as she bows down to Shiva. Pranamam chakara vrishabhadvajaya. Vrishabhadvajaya to Shiva, who has Vrishabha, the emblem of a bull on his dhwaja, on his flag. Uma api navakarnikaram visramsayanti. There is a karnikara flower which is new. She had just plucked the flower and kept it on her head. Natural thing is, as you are plucking flowers for to offer Shiva, she would have taken one and it must have been beautiful and she would have put it on her head. So it is fresh there. Navakarnikaram. Navakarnikaram visramsayanti. It is automatically falling from her head, loosening from her alaka, from her braid. Neela alaka madhya shobhi. Neela alaka is the alakam is usually the front curls that are there, and on those curls, in the middle of that curl is shobhi. It is beautiful. It is shining in the middle of her blue or dark curls. Neela here is more like dark curls. This Karnikara flower is actually something like an orange flower, I think. And it is just fresh. It is not faded or anything. And it is loosening from her hair and it is falling down. At the same time, you need a leaf also. She had plucked a leaf and placed it on her ear. Karnachyuta pallavena. The pallavam, the leaf is there on her ear, and that too is falling. If something is stuck on the side of the ear and it has to fall, she has to bow down so much for it to fall automatically. So pranamam murdhna chakara. With her head, she bowed down and did namaskaram to Shiva.
It's like a natural puja as opposed to what the Sakhis did, which is it's intentional, but this is like swabhava. Like,
Swabhava namrata.
So it's like it's more beautiful. Like it's more tender scene, right? It's like you're giving something of yourself like that, and it's unconsciously given, so it's even more beautiful. But the navakarnikaram, and then he uses the word karna again, so that's beautiful too, and it's amazing.
Yeah, and then the scene is fitting for a heroine. He starts off with how she is very shy, And Adanala, she doesn't come forward. Now, when she comes forward, it's like a total surrender.
So she's shy, so she's offering it in a very hidden way.
Ah.
But it's even beautiful because usually when we do puja, the rule is that you should give the flowers which you haven't used.
Correct. Idu Andal Madri.
Parvati is giving her own flower, meaning that they are one, or you can do dhwani of this.
It's like Andal, no? Shudi kodutha chudar kodiye dane avadukku. She wears the mala, sees whether it's beautiful for her, and then gives it. And the Maringa, she looks at it, it's very beautiful. She places it on her head. It's a natural behavior of a woman, no, of a girl, and she places it. Then she offers it because it's the most beautiful among the other flowers. Then, yeah,
it's a beautiful.
I know. अथ देव्याः प्रणामम् आह उमा अपि मूर्ध्ना वृषभध्वजाय प्रणामं चकार. उमा पार्वती अपि शब्दः पूर्वोक्त सखी प्रणाम समुच्चयः. सो सखीनां प्रणामः अपि अभूत्, उमा अपि प्रणनाम इति. शी आल्सो डिड इति अपि. वृषभध्वजाय परमेश्वराय प्रणामं प्रणमनं चकार. प्रणाम समये देव्याः प्रह्वत्वं. Prahvatvam here is prahvaha. Prahvabhavaha is vinaya bhavaha. So it shows her vinayam or her humility when she is doing namaskaram. So Neelalaka madhya shobhi navakarnikaram visramsayanti. Neelanam Krishna varnanam alakanam madhye shobhitum sheelam. Karnikara flower, which is very orange or yellow in color, it can look very beautiful in the contrast background, and her hair is very dark in color. So when she places a yellow flower, it's shining even more beautifully. Imagine a yellow flower or a dark flower with the dark curls, or a yellow flower with a blonde hair. It's not going to stand out so much. But here, because her hair is dark and the flower is also bright, it shobhitum sheelam asya, because it can shine in the midst of the dark curls. Navakarnikaram, navam abhinavam karnikaram, karnikara kusumam visramsayanti, atyanta namra shirastaya nipatayanti, because her head is bowing down extremely, it is she is making it fall. It's automatically falling. So anena atyanta pravanatvam uktam. Pravana is she is bowing down so much. Atra neela shabda nava shabdabhyam alaka karnikara kusumayoho parabhaga labha atishayaha suchitaha. To bring out the parabhaga is beauty, to show that it is much more beautiful. Alaka, she is a young girl. Nobody is going to doubt whether she has white hair or not. You don't need to mention that it is Neela Alaka. By mentioning that it is Neela Alaka, and it is a fresh Karnikara flower, it is not a faded Karnikara flower, he is showing the beauty much more by emphasizing on those two adjectives there. Otherwise, those adjectives might seem redundant. You don't need to specify that it is dark hair for her, right? But then he specifies it is Neela Alaka. So Neela Shabdena Tatra alakasya parabhaga labha. Parabhagam is beauty. In order to understand that it is more beautiful, to bring out that beauty, he is emphasizing with the adjectives. Okay. Karnavatamsa pallavaha api pranama samaye galitaha. The pallava, the leaf that is there, that is being hung, or which she has as an earring, that also fell down. Okay, karnachyuta pallavena karnat chyutaha galitaha, that which slips out of her ear. Tena murdhna, pallavena murdhna. So that is an adjective to murdha. Murdha is head, and her head, which has this leaf which has fallen out of her ear. Atra pranama kriyayam lalitya apadakani visheshanani Rati uddipana parataya prayuktani iti parikaralankaraha. So all these adjectives that have been used, and the softness of the syllables that he has used also, are very specific because they give you the feeling of rati here. Shringara. It emphasizes the Shringaram between Parvati and Parameshwara here. Right? So that's why he brings out very soft syllable words and lovely adjectives for everything. Umapi Nilalaka Madhyashobhi Visramsayanti Navakarnikaram Chakara Karnachuta Pallavena Murdhna Pranamam Rishabhadvajaya. Okay. Now he has to, anybody does a namaskaram, you have to give an ashirvada. That is what next Shiva does. Ananya bhajam patimapnuhiti sa bhavyameva bhihita sa tatyameva bhihita bhavena nahi ishvara vyahritayah kadachit pushnanti pake viparitam artham. Pushnanti loke viparitam artham. Yeah. Ananya bhajam patimapnuhi. That is his ashirvada vachanam. This words are a little not showing properly. 1 minute. Okay. Ananya bhajam patim apnuhi. Patim apnuhi, may you attain a pati, a husband who does not think about anybody else, who is not attached to another lady. Ananya bhajam. Anyam na bhajate. He does not go to another lady at all. This is, something like Vishnu has 2 wives. Whereas Shiva has only 1 wife. There are people who say Ganga is also another wife, but a lot of description only has Ganga as she is there on his head. There is no mention of Ganga being his wife as such. That's only in Kāvyam you will find, not in any Purana. So, Ananya bhajam patim apnuhi, may you attain a husband who does not think about another wife. Iti sa bhavena bhavyam eva abhihita, tathyam eva abhihita. Another reading is tathyam. She was addressed in a very truthful manner by Shiva when he said that you will attain a husband who does not think about another woman. So it is the truth that Shiva himself spoke. And he is going to be the husband here, but she is also Bhava Purva Patni. Later, in the 5th Sarga, you will find the mention that she is spoken of as Bhava Purva Patni, one who was the Patni. She was the wife of Shiva in her earlier Janma. So he knows, right? So sa bhavena by Shiva abhihita, she was spoken in this manner. Bhavyameva, here bhavyam means bhavi yat bhavam tadeva, that which is going to happen in the future. But Shiva has given an ashirvada, only that which is going to happen in the future. Bhavyam, bhavi bhavam, that which will happen definitely. So the Arthantarnyasa here is, he justifies this action. How is it that Shiva is able to look into the future or talk about the future and give that as an ashirvadam for Parvati? Nahi Ishvara Vyahritayah kadachit pushpanti loke viparitam artham. Loke, in this world, for now, Pake, we will leave that. There is another reading, loke. In the world, kadachit, at any moment, Ishvara Vyahritayah. Vyahriti, the words that come out of gods, Ishvara, a person who is a controller. So their words will never take on a wrong meaning. Viparitam artham na pushnanti. They will never turn out to be contradictory to what has been said. Because it is a person. In Uttarramacharitam, Vacham arthonudavati. Laukikanam hi sadhunam artham vag anuvartate. Laukikanam hi sadhunam. A sadhu who is a laukika, a normal sadhu, usually he sees things that are happening and then he says the words which follow what is happening. So artham vag anuvartate. Rishinam punaradhyanam vacham artho anudavati. Rishinam punaradhyanam adhyanam rishinam cha. Those who are ancient sages, any word they say, the meaning just runs behind that word to make it true. They will just say the words. That's it. And the meaning has to run to make it true. So vacham arthaha anudhavati. So Ishvara vyahritayah, words that come out of Ishvara, the Lord or Mahapurusha, they never, Ishvara here is not just God, but take it as someone who is Ishita, one who has a control over his sense organs, or one who has a control, Trikalajnani, one who can understand time, one who can understand the time and space. Those people, their ukti, vyahriti, kadachit loke, at any point in this world, it will never become contradictory. It will never become wrong. Viparitam artham na pushnanti. Yeah. So that is, whatever Shiva says will definitely happen. It will make it is bound to happen. There is no other choice there. Okay. When you take it as pake viparitam artham na pushnanti. Pake, you can take it as at the time of fruition. When there is a parinama that happens. See, sometimes when we say certain things, it is going to happen in the future. That is at the time of when that word has to take fruit. At that time, pake, it will never be contradictory to what was said before. So, viparitam artham na pushnanti. Is that clear? Devya pranatasya devasya ashirvada prakaram aha. So when Devi had did the namaskaram, and Deva, that is Shiva, had what was the ashirvada that he gave? Bhavena sa ananya bhajam patimapnuhi iti bhavyameva abhihita bhavena rudrena bhavo bhimasthanu rudraha iti amaraha. He has a lot of words. You go to Sahasranamam, like Vishnu Sahasranamam, you have Shiva Sahasranamam also. So, Bhavena, Rudrena, Sa Parvati, Ananya Bhajam, Anyam Striyam na bhajate iti Ananya Bhak. Anya Shabdasya Sarvanamatvato Pumbadbhavaha. That is it. There is no Ananya Bhaj iti. It doesn't take a Strilinga form there. But it becomes there is a Pumbad Bhavam there. So Ananya Bhajam, one who does not have another wife. Bharyantara Rahitam Bhartaram. Sapatni Sadbhavaha hi Strinam Param Dukkha Karanam. For women, the most Dukkha Karanam, the reason for grief with her husband is always if there is another woman. Sapatni Sadbhavaha. If there is another woman, then the lady becomes really unhappy in that marriage because she has to, nobody likes to have a co-wife there. So, apnuhi, prapnuhi, iti shabdaha prakaravachanaha. Prakaravachanaha. Anena prakarena iti. Iti, anena prakarena. You translate it as prakarena. Bhavyam bhavi. न केवलं कन्यकाजन प्रणामेषु आचार सिद्धत्वात् एव मुक्तं किन्तु भाव्यर्थ कथनमेव इति एवकारस्य अर्थः भावी एव. This is not a standard that Shiva is following here. Kanyajana pranameshu. When young girls do a namaskara, they normally say patimapnahi. May you obtain a husband who loves you or who does not think about anybody else. This is a achara siddham. This is something that is traditional. Not only is this traditional, but there is also a bhavi artha katanam. Eva iti. It is the truths that he is saying. It is something that is going to happen in the future. That is what Shiva is mentioning here. So, Ananya Bhajam Patimapnami. This is not just a tradition that he is following, but it is the future that he is able to say. Abhihita Ukta. So, Parvati evam Abhihita. Bhavitvam eva upapadayati. Upapadayati iti chet tatra he uses a what do you say? He justifies it. Upapadayati ityukte justifies. Ishvara vyakritayah loke kadachit viparitam na pushnantihi. Ishvaranam mahatmanam vyakritayah uktayah. So in general, great people. This is an Arthantranyasa. The typical Arthantranyasa example in Kuvalayananda is Hanuman Abdhim Atarat. Hanuman crossed the ocean. Kim dushkaram mahatmanam. What is difficult for a great person? So you're generalizing, you're justifying a particular action using a general statement. Hanuman is a particular person who crossed the ocean. And you're justifying it by saying, oh, for great people, nothing is difficult.
Tatra Nyasaha means placing.
Hmm.
Artha we know. Arthantara means the inner meaning.
Illa. Anyaha arthaha arthantara.
Okay. Anyata artha antara. Okay. Antara. Okay.
Namantaram, deshantaram gatva. So all that antara comes because of anyat.
So it's so the other meaning that is suggested is called arthantara nyasa, and the other meaning is the generalized meaning.
It need not be generalized. So you samanyena vishesha samarthanam, visheshena samanya samarthanam. Ubhayadha, both ways it can happen.
So you quote something that's generic and then you give a specific example, or in a specific instance, you say you generalize the outcome.
Yes. So here it is a general thing. Ishwaranam, Mahatmanam vyavaharaha tu evameva bhavet. Iti.
Tatra Ishwaranam nama shivasya vaktum shakyate.
அவரை கேட்க முடியாதுல்ல. இந்த சிவலீலார்ணவத்துல ஒரு நகி ஈஸ்வராக பரியனயோகசீலாகான்னு அது ரத்னைக கனீம் விஹாய கிமர்த்தம் கங்காம் தரசி. See, he is near Tamraparni. Nilakanta Dikshita lives near Tamraparni, so he describes Tamraparni for about 20 shlokas in Shivalilarna. He says, Ratnaika Khanim, this Tamraparni river is filled with gems. It is a treasure house of gems. Etam Vihaya. Shiva left this, and why did he have to have Ganga on his head? He could have had Tamraparni on his head. Someone says, yes, probably you're right what you're saying. Nahi Ishwaraha Paryanayoga Silaha. Paryanayogana question. Hey, Ishwarana boy eppadi question pandradanga? You can't question Ishwara. He will do actions however he wants. We are nobody to question him.
So this is a conversation it's with of the poet with himself.
Yes.
Both of a question and then he gives the answer himself.
Yeah. So Mahatmanam Vyahritayah Uktayah Loke Lokatraye api Kadachit Kalatraye api, in all three times, Viparitam Anyatha Bhutam Artham na Pushnanti na Prapnuvanti. So it never takes on a different meaning. What he said will stand in all three worlds and in all three times. Bhuta Bhavishyat Vartamana Kale. So Ishwaranam Vachanam Deshantare Kalantare Avastantare va na Vyabhicharati. Vyabhicharati does not transgress the meaning that was said earlier. It will never take on a different meaning, whether it is in another desham or another kala or another state avastha. Tat pratibandhakam duritam nirasyapi sadhyam sadhayati eva iti pushnanti ityanena dyote. Pushnanti means it's more like nurtured. Situation, pushnanti is not prapnoti, not just prapnoti. It's just, it is, the situation is, அதாவது அமைக்கப்படுறதுங்கிறோம்ல, ஒரு சிச்சுவேஷனை அமைச்சு அந்த விஷயத்தை பண்ண வச்சுடுறார், அந்த வார்த்தைகளுக்கு அது அமைஞ்சுடுறதுங்கிற. That is what is Vacham Arthonudavati. Right? The situation is created in such a manner that it is conducive for the words to become true. That is Pushnanti. Prasiddhihi cha Shruti Smritishu. There are a lot of Prasiddham where the Maharishi says something and it actually happens. Right? Shapam is also something like that. Vak Artham Anudavati. Arthaha Anudavati. Pake iti pathe parinamaha. If you take instead of loke, you take pake here, then it is parinama. At the time of parinama, at the time of fruition, it will definitely happen. So Ananya Bhajam Patimapruhiti Sa Bhavyameva Sa Tathyameva Bhihita Bhavena Nahi Ishwara Vyahritaya Kadachit Pushnanti Pake Viparitam Artham. Seriya? Stop with this.